Multiplying binomials. Expand and simplify. 4 examples of multiplying binomials. In the first example, you take the first bracket and multiply it by the second. So I'm going to distribute the first term into each of the terms in the second bracket. So x times x is x squared, and x times 2 is 2x. I'm then going to take the second term along with its sign and distribute that into the second bracket. So that becomes 1x, and 1 times 2 is 2. Now we're at a place where we will collect like terms and simplify. The like terms are nicely collected for us, so we're going to have x squared plus 3x plus 2. The second example is the same structure. It's one bracket times the other, and it's the same mechanism. We'll take the first term and distribute into the second bracket. So that will be 6y squared plus 3y. You take the second term and distribute that into the second bracket. So that becomes negative 8y and negative 4. The like terms are already collected, so we're going to simplify, and this is the result. In the third example, we're still doing a binomial expansion, one bracket times the other, but we have a 3 in front. And you can do this one of many ways. What I prefer to do is leave the 3 alone and deal with the binomial expansion first. So just like the other ones, take the first term and distribute. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 4 is 8x. Take the second term along with its sign and distribute. So it's negative 1x and negative 4. At this point, you could distribute the 3, but it's much better if you simplify the bracket first. You have some like terms that you can simplify. And now we're down to 3 terms. So now that when you distribute, it's less complicated. There's only 3 terms instead of 4. So the final result will be 6x squared plus 21x minus 12. I'm just going to show you what happens if you do exactly the same question, but multiply the 3 first. So same question, we should get the same result. So in this instance, I'm going to take the 3 and distribute into the first bracket. So I will get 6x minus 3. I then need to bring down my last bracket, which is x plus 4. So the difference here is that now we are multiplying bigger numbers against the second bracket. The numbers are small enough that we can manage this hopefully mentally, and we'll get the same place. So 6x times x is 6x squared. 6x times 4 is 24x. Negative 3 is what you're now going to distribute. Don't forget the sign. Distribute into the second bracket. So you'll get negative 3x minus 12. Simplify your like terms, and it is the same result. While in this example the numbers were relatively small, imagine if this number here ended up being a large number like 73. Then that would be a really, really big number in this first bracket. So it's always best, in my opinion, to distribute this value out front at the very end and do the binomial expansion first. Okay, one last example. So just like when we were adding polynomials, when we're distributing amongst many brackets, look at the structure of the question. Here we have a negative sign between two components. So we'll do the first component first and we'll keep our brackets. So again, I like to leave this 2 until the end. So I'm going to distribute the 3y into the first bracket. So this is 3y squared. 3y times 1 is 3y. Take the negative 2 along, remember, bring along the sign, and distribute that into the second bracket. Negative 2y minus 2. And now we're going to bring down the negative sign, and we're going to leave that until the very end. Could we distribute that into the first bracket? Yes, but it's actually best to leave it alone for now. Take your first term and distribute. So that will become 2y squared plus y. Take the second term along with its sign, don't forget the sign, and distribute through. So now we've got negative 6y minus 3. So I want to tidy up the brackets first before I distribute anything. So I have some like terms in each one of my brackets. So 3y squared plus y minus 2 and 2y squared minus 5y minus 3. And now we can go ahead and distribute the 2. So the 2 gets distributed into that second bracket. So 6y squared plus 2y minus 2. And now we can take the negative sign and distribute it into the bracket. So negative 2y squared plus 5y plus 3. We're now going to collect like terms. So 6y squared minus 2y squared plus 2y plus 5y minus 2 plus 3. And the end result will be 4y squared plus 7y plus 1. A couple things to remember when you see a more complicated example is when you are looking at the various components, please remember that this 2 can only be distributed once. It's very important to remember that the 2 can be distributed into the first bracket, or in the case of my example, I waited to distribute that 2 until this step. So this little structure here could be explained by saying, you know what, the way that that works is the same as saying 2 times 3 times 4. Now 2 times 3 times 4 is 24. So you can distribute the 2 times the 3 and then bring down the 4 and then you'll get 24. Or you could leave the 2 alone and do 3 times 4, which is 12, which is also 24. What you cannot do is just double distribute. So 2 times 3 times 4, a very common mistake is to go 2 times 3 and 2 times 4. And that ends up being is 6 times 8, which is 48. You double distributed the 2, and therefore you get double the answer. And this is incorrect. Okay, so there's our 4 examples of multiplying binomials. Thanks for listening.